Welcome friends in our tech management education channel. We are doing Six Sigma lecture series. So this is our fifth lecture. In fourth lecture we have discussed about DMAIC total methodology of Six Sigma: define, measure, analyze, improve and control. In this lecture we will see details of every step. What are the aspects we will cover up in all five major steps. Okay, so this is a very critical and important sheet. You should be very careful, attentive. In define phase, as I told in lecture 4, establish CTQ characteristics. We will establish CTQ, critical to quality, and define a project. Okay, that we have discussed. And what are our deliverables? Establish CTQ characteristics. Six Sigma aligned to business and customer needs. Like for any process, any manufacturing, any service industry, what is our business? What is customer needs? We need to define that very categorically. Until unless we know our customer best and what is their specification, what is their requirement, and then we cannot conclude our processes parameters. Our process may be designed for some little variation what our customer wants. So exactly what is required, we need to define. We need to take feedback from customer, get their orders and what is their specification. Okay, so CTQ will come from either from customer or from internal voice, means internal customer, external customer, whatever it is. And then deliverables are understanding customer needs. What are customer needs? There may be as per specification, there may be hidden needs, there may be something what other vendors providing to our customers. Like a customer is getting material from 3-4 suppliers. So what other suppliers are doing, we need to benchmark that. That is also a need, customer need. Customer may not tell us other suppliers are giving, but it is our duty to get the best available sources. What is the best quality product customer is getting, and that we need to supply, maybe better than this. Then customer may have different requirements, a number of requirements. So everything at a time may not be we not fulfill. So prioritizing customer needs means what are the high priority demands of the customer. That can be our first project of Six Sigma, so that customer satisfaction level can be improved, or we will have best of our business in terms of supply and productivity, other things. So for that, for defining CTQ, there are various tools, there are various methods. Here in summary, in short nutshell, we will discuss. In later lectures we will discuss in details, like QFD, CTQ drill down. Like there are so many CTQs. Then individual bigger CTQ can also be drilled down to smaller CTQs. Like one example, there is a requirement of a steel bar. So there is a specification of delivery time reduction. So it is a CTQ, delivery time reduction. Then further, if there is a breakup of delivery, then we can drill down to CTQ. Maybe what kind of delivery, what kind of vehicle, what is the packaging mode, how to reduce this. There are so many aspects of delivery. So we can drill down to CTQ. Then understanding of customer needs, voice of customer, that we can collect from various customers. What are the requirements, voice of customers. Many things may not be written, many things maybe they want us to provide additional. So we need to be very careful about the customer requirement. Otherwise, kind of analysis, everything we will learn in details. So these are the in broad basically what is the customer requirement. Are we fulfilling our customer requirement? So this is our CTQ establishment. Then define a project based on our CTQ. What is the shortlisted? There may be hundreds of CTQs. Then what are the shortlisted CTQ? So how to shortlist? Means everything we cannot take as a Six Sigma project. So for selecting, say we have 20 number of CTQs. So which one is to select for Six Sigma project? For that there are various steps we can organize. Like one common method is brainstorming. We can have a all employees or stakeholders meeting, and in that we can discuss about all CTQs, and we can have their voting which CTQ is most critical according to all of them. The CTQs which are getting majority of the votes, we can go along with them. Then every participation will also be ensured. If everybody is supporting, everybody is raising their voice for this CTQ, then everybody will be aligning to that CTQ. Okay, so one major activity will be brainstorming and multi-voting. Then after that selection of the project, we need to define the project, scoping of the project, what are the boundaries of the project. Plant may be big and our operation and equipment will be large enough, so we cannot touch every corner of the plant and this. So there should be a scoping. So this is my boundary, this is my raw material entry to finished good exit. So this is my boundary of my project. There may be n number of projects in organization. So which product to be taken for Six Sigma? So related to that product, we need to ensure raw material entry to every process to final dispatch, so that there will not be any delay or rejection in any process. We need to ensure start from raw material for every individual process, then delivery up to that customer point. Even logistic and supply chain also we need to take care. Okay, that is our total will be the define a project. Then there comes measure, establish performance parameters. So micro level is as is process mapping. So we need to, in that case, we need to have a process map. Like every plant we have a process map, where from raw material coming, what are the, like a flow chart. You know, in computer science we studied about flow chart. So what are the start point, what are the intermediate points, what are the processes, what are the intermediate outputs, or what are the final outputs, then dispatch. So everything we can put in a flow chart kind of thing, so that every layman or every operator, every stakeholders can understand inflow of the material to individual value addition of stage wise value addition of that raw material, and up to that final production. So that mapping we need to establish first to define parameters. Then we can categorically identify what are the processes, what are the inputs. Like for production of any material we need a major base material, then many chemicals, many color. So everything to be included, many packing materials. Mode of transport, it may, our final product may go by train, go by truck. So packing differentiation for mode of transport. Rail transport may attract different packing requirement. Truck may attract different packing requirement. So everything we need to map it out. Then that is there. Then another one is JET calculation, that we will discuss in details. JET calculation, how it is to be done. So that mapping tools are process mapping, and in JET calculation sampling techniques. For sampling, like we have a process plant or some any kind of plant. So there may be every second there is a generation of data or product. So every data if we want to analyze, it is a time taking process, and a lot of resources are required. So we may have a sampling technique, like our daily production is 1000 quantity, so we will sample 100 quantity and we will analyze all parameters based on our resource availability, our instruments availability. If continuous measurement is possible, that is the best one, like temperature, pressure, or any flow, or any kind of continuous measurement, electronic kind of measurement is available for a process. Then we can have a trend and instantaneous values, like every second by second or nanosecond by nanosecond value we can have. So that is also one kind of measurement. If that is not possible, then if we manually sampling data to be taken, then we can have a sampling process, like this thing. Or even for final product, if every sample product measurement is not possible, then we can have a sampling technique. That sampling technique has to be agreed upon with our external customer and internal customer. Everybody should be agreed to a sampling technique. How many samples to be taken, what are the SOPs, standard operating procedure for sampling, what are the measurement techniques. So there are different aspects of sampling that also we will discuss in difference. What are the minimum numbers, what are the techniques of samples. There are n number of sampling techniques. Okay, it is very critical, because if we collect a wrong sample or less number of sample, then we may reject a good process based on our samples, or if we collect a wrong sample, we can accept a wrong product based on our wrong samples, number of samples, less number of samples, or selection of samples. So sampling is also, if you do a sampling, then it is again riskier for both, as well as producer as well as customer. So we need to be very careful in sampling. Then validate the measurement of Y. Ensure precision in measurement. In measurement system, our measuring tools should be calibrated and it should be accurate. We will study GRR in subsequent lectures. So the main point is our measurement system should be reliable. Nobody should doubt our measurement system, temperature, pressure, whatever measurement systems. It should give us correct readings. Okay, so every team, every stakeholder should have confidence on all kind of measurement systems. Then analyze. In analyze, broadly, there is a established process baseline. Then baseline, what is this at present rejection rate? Then we need to calculate first, because what is my present sigma level? Like it can be a 5 sigma, 4 sigma, 2 sigma. Then we can have a clear vision or goal that from 2 sigma we need to go to 6 sigma, or 5 sigma to 6 sigma. So based on the baseline, we need to calculate 6 sigma level. So for that we need to calculate normal distribution. These are tools we will detail in detail. Normal distribution, DPMO, defects per million opportunity, as I discussed. Central limit theorem, sampling, distributors, everything we will discuss in details. Okay. And they are from confidence level. Confidence level is that we can define confidence level like probability. What is my probability of rejection? What is my probability of acceptance? For the t-test and other tests are there for calculating the probability. What is my confidence level for this process? Because everything we will be dealing with samples. We will not be dealing with full size data, sample basis. So based on sample, we need to establish our process. So there are various processes, t-test, z-test, to define that my process is within my defined probability. What is my probability of error? What is my probability of acceptance? Like that. Then define performance goals. Establish target. Based on our present scenario, we need to target from which level to which level we need to shift. Like if it is my DPMO is 5 sigma level, that from this sigma to 6 sigma, this is my progress. So for that for establishing this, we have t-test, ANOVA. ANOVA is analysis of variance. Like we have set of data. So how to analyze this? We have a software SPSS we will use. I'll show how to use SPSS for all these tests. So we can series of tests we can do to analyze the data and establish all kinds of this. There are F test, probability distribution, and all these things. So we'll use software SPSS for analyzing all these tests. Then identify various sources. Identify and prioritize potential access. There may be n number of access. So in nutshell, I can say that if y is equal to fx, then there may be linear relationship between x and y. There may be exponential relationship. There may be some constant multiplier relationship. So we can have a detailed tools for identifying the relationship. For that, we can establish a Pareto chart or FMEA. Regression analysis. Regression analysis, we can formalize or define equation of various x's with respect to y. Like we have, if we have 4 x's, then how 4 x's are related to y. That easily you can find find out in using SPSS. Okay, so that can be done. ANOVA, chi-square, all are statistical tools. Six Sigma is basically statistical, all kinds of statistical tools we use to pinpointing the solution to establish our system probability. Okay, so one major important tool is FMEA, failure mode and effect analysis. So in nutshell, I can say that if my equipment may fail in 100 types, in 100 ways it may fail. So analyze the all failures. If we come to know these are the failure modes and these are controls, then I can establish my relationship in my system. So I can control my failures. Okay, so these are all various sources of defects can be generated in any part of the system, either from machine, from material, from handling. So we need to identify all kinds of failures so that we can foolproof our system. So all these things we will do in analyze phase. Then improve. In improve phases, explore potential causes, eliminate non-causal X. Suppose we have 10 X, we identify 10 X's, and after regression analysis or any kind of analysis, we found that only 3 are very critical. Other 7s are not so critical for my output. So we can eliminate this because we need to focus. If we keep on drilling down and it's a reduction kind of process. We need to reduce number of X's so that we can focus on critical X's to regulate our Y. Okay. So then we can design of experiments we can do. Establish variable relationship. Establish prediction equation and best settings of, like I told, in regression or other techniques. We can establish our relationship between X and Y. So that can be done. Okay, that is there. Then next is design operating limits. Finally, we need to establish what is my operating limits of X, what is my variation in X, what is my allowable variation in X to get desired Y. Okay, so that to be done. Then validate the measurement systems of Y. Ensure precision in measurement system. As I told earlier, time to time, once we may have defined our measurement system, but after certain time or due to weather effect or due to operator effect, different operator may use instrument differently. So we can ensure GRR study. Okay, GRR is again a statistical method to establish my instrument is correct, or if different operators use a same instrument, it will have a same result, so that we can have in all weather, all operator, suppose 3 shifts are running, in 3 shifts different operators are coming in the running the machine. So in all operators we will have same measurement. For that GRR study to be done. Okay, that is to be done in control. Finally, my system equipment should be controlled, my measurement should be reliable, then only my system will be in a control phase. Verify process improvement, process control mechanism, target sigma multiples. And then finally we will again continuously calculate what is my improvement, how much we have improved. Final target is 6 sigma, but in between there may be a process of certain time, like 6 months, 1 year, whatever is the project length, and we define our target line. So periodic process improvement tracking is required, because without measurement, without tracking, without analyzing or discussion among our team members, so everybody will not be aligned throughout the project phase. So periodic measurement, periodic meeting, periodic discussion among all stakeholders, it is very important. And calculation of 6 sigma level. Suppose we have started our system in 2 sigma level, so after 1 month it may come to 3 sigma level, okay, or 4 sigma level. Then we can have we can retune our system where we are lagging, where systems are not improving. So what parameters are to be changed. So we can have a PDCA cycle again, like plan, do, check and act, everything. So again our cycle. So it's a repeat kind of things till our system is established to 6 sigma level. If our target is 6 sigma level, so this is to be repeated again and again. Okay. Then after establishing the 6 sigma level, finally we have had target of all access. What are my controllable acts? So mistake proofing and other things can be done, all leveling can be done, all documentation, final documentation, we can freeze all documentation. What are my parameters, what is my regulating, what is my variation, allowable variation. So these things we can formalize. Then finally institutionalize new capability like SOPs, SMPs, and final sign off. And this has to be verified by any finance friend for our benefits, because without benefit we cannot run 6 sigma project, because lot of energy is required and other things, we are lot of cost also involved. So once everything is cost benefit analysis also to be drawn for this 6 while in defined phase. So this is my present baseline, and if we improve from this 2 sigma to 5 sigma, I may have this amount of dollar. So finally my finance friend also to be with me for establishing that benefit result, that this is achieved, and finally closure of my project. So this is the whole detailed summary of 6 sigma projects. In tool section, these are the main attraction of 6 sigma. There are various statisticals, we will discuss in details each tool. So one by one we will discuss. Okay. So this is a very critical sheet, so everybody should remember, and you can note it down. In next lectures we will discuss in details. Okay friends, if you like our lectures, subscribe our channel and press the like button. Thank you.